welcome to Alfredo's Tips and Tricks. I'm Diane Marte, and believe it or not, Alfredo isn't here right now because he's too busy sunbathing. So you're going to have to deal with me, and we're going to be going over basic knit terms. Yes, and on to basic knit terms. There are sweater knits that are knitted by knitting machines or by hand, like this sweater right here. And then there are cut and sew knit pieces like this dress right here. Although the fabric was knitted together with machines, what's different from the sweater that you saw before is that this piece is actually cut into pattern pieces and then sewn together. This sweater here, which was knitted into the shape of a garment, also known as full fashioning, and you see the full fashion marks here and then also along the neckline. And what then happens is that the sweater is linked together at the neckline here and then also the trim, or if this sweater had a sleeve, then you'd have linked the sleeve with the front and the back of the sweater. To help better explain the knit terms that we will be using, I'm going to be demonstrating the terms on this bolt of sweater knit fabric. So this is the face side of the fabric, and as you can see, the wales or the knitted stitches on one side, and then you see the purl stitches on the back side, like this. Wales are knitted stitches that run the length of the fabric, like so, and are similar to the warp of yarns on woven fabric. Wales are used to identify the grain of the knit. Now on to gauge. When figuring out the gauge of a yarn, all you have to do is measure the number of wales in between 1 inch. Now the number of wales for this particular sweater is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there are 8 wales, and that is considered an 8 gauge knit. Now on to grain, which is very important. For knits, the wales will indicate grain. Remember, a wale is a knitted stitch, like this one right here. And grain runs vertically for any jersey knit. It's very important to cut fabric on the grain in order to avoid unwanted twisting and for the fabric to drape or hang properly once constructed into a garment. And as I'm laying the fabric out just slightly, I just want to show you that this is considered the grain of the fabric. The cross grain are the yarns that are perpendicular to the grain, so they actually move across this way. At times, it may be necessary to cut along the cross grain due to the print of the fabric or the direction of the stretch. Selvage, which is also known as the edge of the fabric, which is right here, can be anywhere between 1/4 inch to 3/4 inch wide. The main purpose of selvage is to protect the fabric during the dyeing process, if it's piece dyed, and the finishing process. Flat knits. Knits that are produced openly, same as woven fabrics where there is selvage running vertically on each side, are known as flat knits. Flat knits can be produced in widths as small or narrow as 24 inches to beyond 72 inches. Now here we have a piece of circular knit made of silk jersey. Now this is also known as a tubular knit. Tubular knits are made with knitting machines that construct the fabric without selvage. This machine is used to make t-shirts and mostly hosiery. I have with me here some Milliken, and Milliken is used for dancewear, active sportswear, and swimwear. Now, plaiting happens where two yarns are knitted and you see one yarn on the face side and then you see another on the back. Now, this method is widely used when adding elastin, lycra, and spandex to a cut and sew knit. Here is another example of plaiting. I'm holding here some French terry, and on the face side is the base fabric, and then on the back side you see the French terry loops. A two-way stretch fabric is a fabric that stretches in one direction like this modal jersey knit. The fabric will either stretch along the grain or the cross grain. In this instance, the modal stretches on the cross grain. Although there is some stretch on the grain, a greater amount of stretch is on the cross grain. And most single knit jerseys have two-way stretch. So four-way stretch fabrics are fabrics that stretch along the grain, which is actually this way, and the cross grain. So they stretch out. And most four-way stretch fabrics are plaited with spandex or lycra and are used for swimwear, dancewear, lingerie, and activewear, like this Milliken sample. And those were the basic knit terms. Now watch out for Knits 101 Part 2, where we're going to be discussing all the awesome knit fabrics that you'll be able to sew with your home machine.